Later, in the forest, they came upon a gathering of animals who appeared fierce, but who were so impressed by the lion's courage that they begged him to be their king. He promised to return once he saw Dorothy safely home. The four travelers passed through the rest of the forest in safety. When they came out from its gloom, before them was a steep hilltop covered with rocks. The Scarecrow led the way up the hill. "Keep back!" A head showed itself over the rock and said, "This hill is ours. You may not cross it." From behind the rock stepped a short, stout man with a big head, flat at the top and supported by a thick, wrinkled neck. Look at that thick, wrinkled neck. Oh my goodness. He does not look happy. None of them look happy. They are very strange looking people. A thick, wrinkled neck, but excuse me, but he had no arms at all. "I'm sorry not to do as you wish, but we must pass over the hill," the Scarecrow said, and he walked boldly forward. As quick as lightning, the man's head struck the Scarecrow in the middle. He went tumbling down the hill. Then the head snapped back to the body. There was a chorus of boisterous laughter, and Dorothy saw hundreds of the armless hammerheads upon the hillside. The lion gave a loud roar and dashed up the hill, and again a head shot swiftly out, and the great lion went rolling down the hill. "Let's call the winged monkeys for help," suggested the woodman. Dorothy put on the golden cap and spoke the magic words. In an instant, the Monkey King stood before her and asked for her command. "Carry us over the hill to the country of the Quadlings," answered the girl. The hammerheads yelled with vexation. Ooh, that's a good word. They yelled with vexation. Vexation means like they were angry, they were upset. They yelled with vexation and shot their heads high in the air, but they could not reach the winged monkeys. And there's the winged monkeys.
You know, and I noticed that one's the king because it has like a head.
Oh yeah, he has like a crown. That must be the king. I think you're right, Fiona. And there she goes, winged monkeys to the rescue. They could not reach the winged monkeys, who caught the four travelers and Toto up in their arms and flew safely over the hill. "This is the last time you can summon us," said the leader to Dorothy, "so goodbye and good luck to you." "Goodbye, and thank you very much," returned the girl. They were now in the country of the Quadlings. The people were short, chubby, cheerful, and dressed all in red. The friends walked up to the beautiful castle. At the gates were 3 girls in red uniforms trimmed with gold braid. As they drew near, one girl asked why they had come to the South Country. "To see the good witch Glinda," Dorothy answered. The soldier girl took them to a room where they prepared themselves for their audience. When they were ready, they followed the soldier girl into a big room where the witch Glinda sat on a throne of rubies. Do you know what a ruby is? Before we were in the Emerald City, and now it looks like this place is full of rubies. Rubies are red. They are a red gem. She was beautiful and young. Her hair was a rich red and fell in flowing ringlets over her shoulders.
What are ringlets?
Ringlets are like when you have curly cues in your hair, like your hair is very curly, like a coil. Her dress was pure white, and her eyes were blue and kindly. "What can I do for you, my child?" she asked. Dorothy told the witch of the adventures they'd had. "My greatest wish now," she added, "is to go home, for Aunt Em must be worried." Glinda leaned forward and kissed the little girl, and told Dorothy she would send her home if Dorothy would give her the golden cap. Dorothy agreed and gave her the cap. The witch said to Dorothy's companions, "What will you do when Dorothy has left us?" So here we have it. Glinda the Good Witch, and look at all the red. Lots of red because there are rubies everywhere. Which do you prefer, rubies or emeralds?
I prefer rubies.
Oh, Fiona prefers rubies. I think I prefer rubies too. But the green is nice too. Look at those soldiers. Soldier girls with their big tall hats. And there's Dorothy and the golden cap that she's going to give to Glinda the Good Witch to trade for going home. It's a pretty good trade, I think. She doesn't need it anymore anyway, huh?
Yeah, because she used all of those.
That's right. Oh, so this picture gives us a good indication of how the story is going to end. Let's see. The Scarecrow planned to return to the Emerald City to rule over the people there. The Tin Woodman wanted to return to the land of the Winkies in the west, where he'd been asked to rule. And the Lion wished to return to the grand old forest where the animals had asked him to be their king. The Good Witch Glinda promised to use her 3 commands to the winged monkeys to get each to his separate destination. Oh, that's nice. So she didn't even use it for her own purpose, huh? Then, having used up the powers of the golden cap, Glinda would give it to the king of the monkeys that they might be free evermore. Wow. But you have not yet told me how to get home, said Dorothy. Your silver shoes will carry you over the desert, replied Glinda. If you had known their power, you could have gone back to your Aunt Em the very first day you came to this country. Well, but then I shouldn't have had my brains, cried the Scarecrow. And I shouldn't have had my lovely heart, said the Tin Woodman. And I should have lived a coward forever, declared the Lion. This is true, said Dorothy, but now I want to go back home. The silver shoes, said the Good Witch, have wonderful powers. They can carry you to any place in the world in 3 steps, and each step will be made in the wink of an eye. All you have to do is knock the heels together 3 times and command the shoes to carry you wherever you wish to go. Dorothy hugged and kissed her friends goodbye, and Glinda, the Good, stepped down from her ruby throne to give the little girl a goodbye kiss. Dorothy thanked her for all the kindness she had shown to her friends and herself. Dorothy now took Toto up solemnly in her arms, and having said one last goodbye, she clapped the heels of her silver shoes together 3 times. "Take me home to Aunt Em," she exclaimed. Instantly, she was whirling through the air so swiftly that all she could see or feel was the wind whistling past her ears. The silver shoes took but 3 steps, and then she stopped so suddenly that she rolled over on the grass several times before she knew where she was. At length, however, she sat up and looked about her. "Good gracious!" she cried, for she was sitting on the broad Kansas prairie, and before her was the new farmhouse Uncle Henry built after the cyclone had carried away the old one. Uncle Henry was milking cows, and Toto jumped out of her arms and ran toward him, barking joyously. Dorothy found she was in her stocking feet. Stocking feet means that she was wearing her stockings, which are like socks. Exactly, Fiona. So stockings was what they would call socks. So Dorothy had found she was in her stocking feet, for the silver shoes had fallen off in her flight and were lost forever in the desert. Aunt Em had just come out of the house when she looked up and saw Dorothy running toward her. "My darling child!" she cried, folding Dorothy in her arms and covering her face with kisses. "Where on earth did you come from?" "From the land of Oz," said Dorothy gravely. "And here is Toto, too, And oh, Aunt Em, I'm so glad to be home again. The end.
That's the end of the story.
That's the end. I hope you guys like this story. I hope you really enjoyed hearing about Dorothy and her adventures with her friends. And there's also a movie, The Wizard of Oz, and I don't know if you've seen that movie, but the movie is very different from the book. So if you can get a hold of the movie, you should check it out to see how they're the same and how they're different. It's really interesting. Okay, see you later.
Bye.